Okay, welcome here to this webinar, our first in 2021, where I would like to introduce a new product that we have or we are going to launch very soon in February. Well, let's start with the basics. For those of you who do not know the microbit is a small PCB that was developed by the BBC, the British Broadcasting Company, and together with Microsoft. And these small devices have been sold in over 60 countries, and at least 4 million of these, according to what I know at least, has been sold worldwide. In the meantime, we have also gotten a second version of this. It has a bit more details, like a buzzer on the print and some improved mechanics. I don't know if you can see this, but there's basically these small ripples here. That's the version 2. So what is the microbit? The microbit, also known as the ultrabit in Denmark, is a platform to teach children programming, and not just any programming, actually kind of embedded programming, in a way a bit of IoT, but it is not connected at this moment. So we have developed a board, an accessory, which right now is not yet officially, but we will get this registered in the Microsoft universe so that it comes out of the box with the environment. And this accessory has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on board. And in this case, it has also NB-IoT for connectivity, and also a GPS, and then a SIM card holder so that you can put your own SIM card in. The microbit will slide right in. I mean, right now I don't have the power connected, but it will slide right in. And then it has a pin header here where all the IOs from the microbit are still accessible. And of course, we have also gotten the larger ones out here, so they are still accessible. The two boards communicate using I2C, so the impact on any other peripherals should be minimal, and you should still be able to connect anything you would like to connect to your board. So it's an easy 3-step demonstration I would like to do. First, I will take a microbit and actually put some code in. In this time, I will use the version 1, but our board works both with version 1 and version 2. And I will now leave the presentation and go to the microbit programming environment. So I have prepared a small project here, which when I started, this is right now empty. But what I would like to show you is, for example, that on start, we will show a string just to illustrate. What do we write? Hello Wappsto users. So when the device starts, it should send the string. And then what I would like is actually to show something on my screen here, other than this string. So I would like to show, and let's take some of the built-in sensors. So let's take the light level. Okay. So now I've made my very, very simple program. What you can see is this can be done by children. Actually, in 2018, almost 90% of the schools in Denmark actually received these devices. I think Industriens Fond, they supplied about 60,000 of these to Danish schools. And the teachers were using this in the 4th to 7th grade to teach children to program. So now I will download the code to the microbit. It is flashing here. I don't know if you can see it. And now actually it already was programmed. So let's restart it, and I hope you can see this. Oh, that's the demo effect, of course. Oh, no. I don't know. Is it visible? It's very bright in here. But the display is now showing a number here running across, and it's showing the light. It's a bit hard to read, I would say, but it's showing the light intensity. And when I cover this, then actually the light intensity goes down because the light sensor is on the back of this print. So this was our very first program. Now comes a bit more fun, because now light intensity is of course nice to know, but if you all the time have to look at it, then you don't get historical data, you don't collect data. So now what we would like to do is actually get this same data into the cloud. So the first thing I do is I plug this in. Remember, I have just programmed it. And now I'm giving our board some power, and I'm using a battery pack, because using a battery pack means that I will be mobile. So I don't know if you can see it, but no strings attached here. So it's now a mobile device, and it will connect to the cloud now. Takes a bit of time to actually get online, but once this LED is green, then I know that we have registered on the mobile network and that we will have some GPS. So now maybe you can see that this LED is green. I hope that's visible on the screen. Okay. But now we need to tell our system what should be sent to the cloud, because the Wappsto, the microbit, is all about being very configurable and about deciding what you want to say. So what I want to do is I would like to set up a value which will be the light intensity, or light level, I will say. And this is a number. And then after that, I would like my board to connect to Wappsto. And let's call this the Wappsto bit. Oh, fine. Then you will see I have a typo there. Okay, this means now I've set up this value, which means in future I will see these names. You don't have to do this setting up the value, but it will make it a bit easier to find actually my number. And now I want to send this number to Wappsto. And what I want is I actually want to send this this light level. So I'm going down here, take the light level again, and this is value 1, which should be the same in order to be the same. And because I don't want to overload the system, I will also put in a timer, which is a pause. So I don't all the time send. That will be very heavy on the system. But we do have some regulation in the code that prohibits too much sending, but it can become expensive, of course, because you have to pay for all the connectivity. Again, now I will connect the microbit to my computer by means of USB, and I will download the code, the newly programmed code, to the microbit. It's flashing, it's blinking. So, and now actually actually I have it programmed. Okay. Put it back into my Wappsto bit. Again, put on the battery bank. And now it should actually start sending data to Wappsto. Okay. But now I want to see this data, right? So what I will do is we have an app, which is also called Wappsto, in the App Store and Play Store. And I will enter this app. I have already registered an account on Wappsto. And now I want to add an IoT device. And what I want to do is I want to add this IoT device by means of a QR code. And let's do this. So I hope you can see my screen somewhat. Yeah. And what you can see here, there's a QR code. Boom. Okay, it caught the QR code. And now all I need to do is actually to say add. And it is now getting into my, yes, there it is. So you see the Wappsto BIY demo. And this BIY demo has a current state, which is the light intensity of 59. And it was sent just some seconds ago. And at the same time, it keeps on flashing this on the screen. I don't know, I hope this is somewhat visible, but we can now see this, this data on the phone. Okay, so this is all good fun, but maybe it's even more fun to actually have bidirectional communication. So what we have made is we have made a relay, and the reason why we put it inside here is because it's live. It's got 230 volts on here. And here are some GPIOs to control this relay. The relay comes actually out of this box, which is a Keys Studio, which can be purchased with a ton of sensors and actuators. And you can connect these to the microbit. So what I want to do now is I want to use the pin headers here to actually control my relay. And I will do this by connecting these cables to my pin header. Of course, this will not be a very mobile device because we do not have mobile power. But I am now putting this, and I will show this to you in a second. Always very, very dangerous having a live demo like this, but I hope will be good. I'm not the most nimble fingered person. Okay, so what you see is I have connected the black wire, which is ground, the red wire, which is power for the relay, and the yellow wire, which is the control for the relay. So there is one of the lines here of the pin headers are all ground, the next one are all power, and the third one, they are all the control, which is mapped to pins on the microbit. Okay. So what I want to do now is I would like to actually control this pin. So I have connected it to pin 0. Let's control this pin. Yes, and everything is switched on. So I would like to say digital pin right. Let's just do it here. So on P0, here you can select another port. It has 16 ports. Some of them can be analog and some of them can be digital, in or out. And I would like to write the value 1 to the port 0. Now let's hope I have programmed this correctly. I will need to program my microbit again. And note that our board is hot pluggable. So I do not need to restart or power it off while I'm reprogramming. You can also leave the microbit in the board, which is a bit difficult for me right now because the cable for the relay is not that long. But now it should be reprogrammed already. Okay. I will put it in here. And it's writing something. And the hello Wappsto users, very long. I should have chosen a shorter string probably. And what you can see, now the lamp switched on. Okay, but maybe we would like this lamp to be remote controlled. What I want to do now is I will add a second number, and I will actually take a more complicated number here where I will say, okay, this should be value number 2. So these values, they can be numbered from 1, 2, 3. We have 15 number values and we have 4 string values. And let's call this relay. Okay, it should be a type number. The minimum should be 0 for switching off. And what I would like is actually that the maximum is 1. Let's move this a bit so we can still see the other one. Okay. So now I have, and I don't set the unit or type. This is more when you want to do a bit of data analytics. You can describe your data model. You can say, this is a relay, this is a number, and the unit might be temperature, centigrade, or you can just give it names there. So what I've done now, so I've explained here the number 2. I want to, whoops. Delete. How do I get this? Like that. I want to have the connect as the last step. And I would like to now actually correct the name here because it is Wappsto bit demo, not DIY demo. Okay. This doesn't mean anything is happening yet because I'm not acting on when I get a command from Wappsto to actually do something. So I need to say that when I receive a number on number received, so I receive a number here, and this is the value number 2, which I have just specified. What I then want to do is actually change the digital pin. So digital write pin, boom, P0 to the received number. Let's try and see what this does. So this time I will see if my, ooh, this is dangerous. I'm happy that my colleague Morten made a strain relief on my relay. So nothing happened. Okay, now I'm programming. This time I leave it in, programming the device. And okay, so now it is rebooting. Oh, I forgot to change my long string. I think I will change that next time so it doesn't take quite this long. Okay, so what happened now is here now you can see there's 2 values, and I go in here and 2 values, and it now has a relay down there. And let's see if I can control this relay. I can see I've had the wrong initial state, but hopefully it should switch off. There it did, and switch on, and there it did. So actually quite fast. Sometimes NB-IoT can have a bit of delay, because MBIT is not that fast. But okay, so now we've demonstrated there is data coming in and data going out. Now what we want to do is we want to see some data. And what I will do is I go to Wappsto. And I am already signed in. I can show you, it's quite easy. You can just sign in with Google here, or you can use an email account. Of course, you need to be registered. I used the app on the phone to actually register. So let's log in, and I want to see a dashboard. Okay, so right now my dashboard is empty. But I can go in here in my IoT devices, and I see there is a Wappsto bit demo. Remember, I changed the name from BIY, and there is actually also control here. So I can still switch on or off. Okay, but there's also, I can see a log, for example. This is the log over the light intensity. Remember, I configured the light intensity in this. Okay, but maybe let's try to do a dashboard. And what I would like to do for that is that I actually add some interesting things like geolocation, because now the device is all of a sudden mobile. So maybe it is interesting to know where my device actually is. So for that, what I will do is I will set up two Wappsto values as a number. Let me just get these in here. And we've made it so that let's put them to value 3 and value 4 respectively. Oops, there we go. And what we want to have is we want a latitude and longitude. Whoops. This is important we write them correctly, because when our system detects these values, then it will take these coordinates and show them in a map. So let's say, okay, let's say what we want is on button press. So when button A is pressed, then I would like actually to send number, and I wouldn't actually two numbers. Let me just take these. And so what I want here is I want to send, and let's try to do it correctly. So value 3 was the latitude. So I take the latitude for value 3. Okay. And I take the longitude for value 4. Okay. So when I press button A, then we should receive actually this. Before I press it, then we should see this in the data model, but we should not. Okay, I still have it connected, so I can program it now. The lamp goes out because when I program, it switches it off. And it's done. This annoys me, this takes so long. I will just write high here, so next time it's shorter. Okay, it's because it executes this program step by step. So I have to wait until the initialization is done. Now on the, oh, where is it? There is my dashboard. Let's just move that there. So, okay. So in the IoT devices, I should now see that there is a latitude and a longitude. That is nice. Wouldn't it be nice to actually see this on a dashboard? So we add a map here in the dashboard, and it wants to know my location. I accept that. So you can see I'm here in Aalborg, but there's no data yet. So now I pressed the A button. Let's see if now the longitude and latitude, they actually are, yes, they are now filled out here a minute ago. And now I should, maybe I have to reload, I don't remember. Maybe I've made a mistake. Probably I need some help from some technical person. Latitude, longitude. Latitude, longitude. I've made a mistake in my programming. Maybe we can improve. So this should not be a number, but this should be as latitude, of course. And here we say as longitude. Okay. So now we try to reprogram this. Of course, errors are normal. That's how you learn. Now I learned that. And now let's see on the dashboard if this actually is corrected. I will just reload. Oh, I think I could just have pressed the refresh button as well. Oh, I haven't. Yes, it now says this is type latitude and longitude. So you can give it actually any name you want. It's just by selecting that this should be a latitude and longitude. And in the dashboard, hopefully now I can see. No, why can I not see my device? Oh, I didn't press the button. This is, of course, the live demo effect. Let me see if I reload, if it then works. I did reprogram, I think, and I did. Yes, it did change in the. Well, if one of my colleagues can come in and tell me what the problem is, that would be nice. What is the problem, Mass?
So you changed the type to be...
Here, I changed set up Wappsto value with name latitude as latitude and longitude as longitude.
And you sent the GPS coordinate, so you actually...
On button A, send number GTS latitude, longitude to value 3 and 4.
Yep. And you pressed the button?
Yes, I think I pressed the button A.
Okay, it might be because that the GPS coordinates haven't changed yet. So if you try to expand the buttons to the right, so you'd send them as soon as possible instead of unchanged.
ASAP. Okay, there you can see. Okay, that means I have to reprogram.
Yep.
And let's see if someone smarter than me was able to figure out the problem. Okay, it says hi here. That means now my dashboard should be updated, I guess, a few seconds ago. Yes, that looks good. And now press A again. So what you're saying now is it should it just come in here, or do I need to reload?
Have you pressed A and B, or what is your...
No, I think I've just made the A. Oh well. That's sorry for that. As I said, a live demo, some things can go wrong, and otherwise you should be able to actually see our device here. Let's just move ahead, because now we have we have basically concluded the presentation, and we will go over to any questions that are asked. So let's see. There is an anonymous attendee who asks me where could I purchase the microbit? Also, what is the expected price range? I guess that is for our product. So the microbit can be bought, of course, online. There is Amazon, AVNet, and other pro shop in Denmark stores that have this, or Hippo Mini, for example. But you can also actually buy the physical microbit in Bilka and Føtex and power stores. So this is, and Fedabea actually, because this is seen as a children's toy. The expected price range, it will depend on which version you want. If you want the Wi-Fi Bluetooth version, or the one with NB-IoT, or also the one with GPS, then there is different prices, and you can see these prices in the web shop. And we are right now looking for distributors. And once we get to larger volumes, then the prices will most likely come down. Remember, this is just an initial version here. Do you have a SIM in your expansion board, or is it the phone's network it is using? No, I do have a SIM card. Let me just disassemble it, and I will take out the relay now, because it doesn't make it very... If you see here, there is actually a SIM card. Right now we are using the Telenor NB-IoT network. It is using actual NB-IoT. But when you have Bluetooth Wi-Fi, of course, also you could use the phone's network. And the reason why we have Bluetooth in there is because there is a method for onboarding devices by means of Bluetooth, which is far more user-friendly than doing it by having an access point. You just use the app, you give in what access point you want to connect to, and then it can tell while it's connecting, it can still give you status via the phone, so you can see what's happening. So that was another anonymous attendee there. How many sensors are available? I would say there's hundreds. So the microbit has some sensors built in, but others can be purchased. You have a lot of, these are a lot of analog sensors. You can see there's tons of different things like gas sensors, soil moisture sensors, fire sensors, and they can be connected. This was from Gerhard Radke. Then there is Søren Kring, who says you can also buy the microbit at Kidsprint. Yes. Are there any manuals for projects for Wappsto? Yes, we do have some GitHub repositories. So the app that you saw here is actually open source. So you can, of course, use the default app to play with, but the source code to the iOS and Android app is also in GitHub. So you can very quickly build your own native app for your phone. And we also have the possibility to have apps in Wappsto. So these are REST, JavaScript and HTML, CSS based small programs, which you can program. There's also a guide how you make this. And and the source code to the make code will also be online, and it will also come on the Microsoft environment, so you can see this. I hope that answers the question. Does it have built-in memory for local logging? Yes, it does, but right now there is no local logging enabled. What we will do later, probably later this month or beginning of next month, is we will do a crowd supply project where we will give the main processor on our board is the ESP32. So we will make Arduino code so you can build your own project which runs on this board. Then you would just buy it and be able to connect it to other clouds than our cloud and the way you want. One interesting thing maybe also is that our cloud also has connectivity to Amazon and Microsoft or other MQTT brokers. So the data that gets into our cloud can be forwarded to your Microsoft or your Azure or your Amazon AWS system, where you then can easily get data in. So can you get data over Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, or is a SIM card required? You can always just run Bluetooth Wi-Fi. So then you don't need the SIM card. Remember, the cheapest version will be Bluetooth Wi-Fi only. It will be born with connectivity to our cloud, but the open source version will be such that you can replace the firmware in there. And then there is a pin header, which when you put it on, then you choose whether to go onto Bluetooth Wi-Fi or onto NB-IoT. So you can try and see how does it work. And then once you need NB-IoT, you can disable it, or you can of course buy the cheaper version without NB-IoT. And since Wi-Fi knows where it is, we don't think it's so necessary to actually have a GPS there. If you wanted mobile, then you can use the phone's app to give the location. And there's also code on GitHub to actually insert data from the phone to our platform. What about GDPR? So I don't know what you mean about GDPR. I mean, the data which is here, if you look at all the data that is sent, this is completely anonymized. If you want to use it in a local installation, then there's no GDPR involved. Of course, if you register, then we use Google and an email address, which is according to GDPR. But it is really up to you what you send to us. So we are fully GDPR compliant. We are not an American. We're not using Amazon or Microsoft. We have a European cloud, and therefore we do not adhere to the Cloud Act, which means that anything on Microsoft or Amazon, even if it's in Europe, if the US says, please give me your data because this is national security, you have to comply. We don't have to do that. You mentioned costs connected to sending a lot of data. Is there a subscription for the web app? Or do you mean the cost of the mobile phone data plan? So there is a free up to about 50 Danish kroner of traffic, and storage on our platform is free. So it's a kind of a freemium model. Once you hit 10 devices or you get more traffic, then you will have to pay for the traffic and for the storage, which is very similar to other cloud platforms. And the exact detailed pricing calculator is on our cloud platform. So you can see it's on par with Amazon IoT pricing. Yes, for the mobile connectivity, of course, you also need to cover cost. And we are working on integrating a subscription scheme into our pricing model, where you will be able to buy the system with 1 year of subscription with a certain amount of data traffic, of course. This is very important to schools, I agree. And that is why we are looking for distributors who also have contacts to schools. but this can also be used by, for example, municipalities. If you want to enable schools to do some small smart city projects, then you can have school children run around and install these microbits in different places, and you can collect big data and you can export this data. We have also export capabilities to Excel, for example, or of course to third-party systems. Can I measure with microbit CO2? Yes, I believe there is CO2 sensors available as extensions. I do not know of the quality of these, but I think these are available. This concerns the Wappsto interface. I don't know what the question is. Sorry, Karin Höh, if you would like to ask more detailed what the question is. Wappsto does have an API, so you can program. If this is what you mean, we have a documented API to the interface. But the interface is also the interface is important to schools. I guess that is that was the question. Okay, sorry about that. What about GDPR for the schools if you connect to Amazon? Well, you decide what you forward to Amazon. So it is really in the hands of the schools what you provide. Internally in Wappsto, we anonymize all data. I can maybe show you this if I look here. If we go into this, this data model, then what you will see is you see a lot of UUIDs here. We anonymize everything by using UUIDs, and we have all the data should be anonymized, and you can share data, you can share devices, you can share values, or you can share whole setups of systems, and then you can hide who actually owns this this data by using the UUID only and not the email when you share. Are voice assistant systems supported? Yes, we have actually played with the Amazon Alexa and Google Home, and you can control the device through voice systems, but this requires additional software where you need to, for example, in Amazon, you need to enable some skills for the Alexa in order to be able to talk to Wappsto. How can you choose between NB-IoT and Bluetooth Wi-Fi if you choose the board which can both? So there is different scenarios that can happen. If there's no SIM card, I believe that then the software will default into Bluetooth Wi-Fi because it cannot register onto the network. And otherwise you can put a pin header on, and then it goes into Bluetooth Wi-Fi mode for you in order to use Bluetooth Wi-Fi. So it's a physical kind of a switch. And we do firmware updates not over NB-IoT because that would be somewhat expensive, but we do firmware updates of the board by means of Wi-Fi. What do you think is the main customer group? I believe that the customer group will be, of course, schools and teachers. It can also be young adults education. But I also foresee that it might be some companies, because sometimes you just would like to try some ideas very quickly. So then you can actually very quickly make a data model, and you can very quickly get data into a dashboard and export this data, and thereby see if your idea also works in real life. Okay. Then I guess there is no more questions as far as I know. And I think we've also used our time. thank you for joining. We will send up a follow-up email with contact information and with some links where you can read a bit more about this. And otherwise, thank you again for your attention. And yeah, we think it's a really great, fun project to play with, and the possibilities are endless to enhance the microbit. Okay, bye bye.